Golden Shoulders Volume 3, Rotational PAILs and Rails. If you're here, I just hope you've done your cars and warmed up the tissue we're about to train, and also distractions. And also have watched the previous PAILs and Rails video so you understand what exactly we're doing. If so, let's get right into it. For the first exercise, you're going to want at least 2 blocks. 2 blocks are going to be required for the exercise. If you have a third block, I'd recommend it for your forehead. If not, use a cushion, pillow, whatever you need. So, what we're going to start by doing is we're going to start with our shoulder in an externally rotated position. It's going to be on the block. We're going to use our elbow here and our fist here. We're going to get ourselves into an externally rotated position. Now, it's not going to be too much of a stretch, so we're going to go ahead and skip that 2-minute hold of the beginning and get right to the action. Now, the PAIL is going to be to drive the hand through the block as if we were trying to rotate our shoulder down. Now, it's not going to happen because it's stuck in place with the block. That's where the isometric comes in. We're going to hold that for 10 seconds. We're going to ramp up for 10 seconds. So you're going to start by applying 10% of pressure. You're going to work yourself up to a 100% max effort contraction in the 10 seconds, and then we're going to hold that max contraction for 15. At the 15-second mark, we are then going to switch right into rails. Now, moving only from the shoulder joint, we are going to internally rotate that shoulder and try to lift the hand right up off the block. I have 2 blocks set down on their sides right now. This would be good if you've never done this before and you have no external rotation. Likely you're going to have a little bit, so we can turn it on its side. This is going to make it just a little bit more difficult to bring your hand up, to rotate your hand up right off the block. It's going to be a better exercise because you're not getting that momentum to get up, which makes it easier. If you have a lot of external rotation, you can turn it up, you can stand it up on its side, put it up on something higher, whatever it is to find the stretch that you need. But for most of us, I think right here in this kind of intermediate set will be just fine. So I'm going to demonstrate real quick. And we're irrigating. So before I demonstrate, we're inhaling through our nose, packing the air down. Now, I'm going to push everything into the floor. I'm going to drive my toes into the ground. I'm going to push my head into this block. My hand is squeezed. I'm pushing into the floor here. So make sure this is right. My legs are squeezed, my butt, my core, everything. I'm going to place my hand right like this. I'm going to drive my elbow into the block, but now the force, the intensity is here. So all of this strength that I'm building up right now is going to refer to the motion that we want, which is this trying to internally rotate this shoulder. So inhale, start to build, and now 10% of pressure into the block. Over the course of this 10 seconds, working it up to 100% max contraction and hold. At your 15 seconds, using the rotation of your shoulder, not borrowing from your wrist or from your spine, your neck, anywhere else. And we're going to open up and we're going to hold that for 10 seconds. After the 10 seconds is up, let it slide back down, catch, take a couple deep breaths, parasympathetic breathing, 6-second inhales, 8-second exhales, let your body relax. And then about 30 seconds later, do a second set. That's the first exercise. Okay, so our second exercise now is going to begin in an internally rotated position, shoulder position, and we're going to work to fight out of it. Again, it's isometric, so we're not going to allow it. So, I'm going to use a block as a pillow. I'm going to grab a second block to put between my knees for irradiation. Laying down on my side. Okay, I want you to make a fist and have that fist point towards your belt buckle. When you're there, you can now bring the top hand, this is going to be your block hand, and just guide that hand down a little bit, keeping your shoulder blade pinned into the ground so we're not rotating off, and just guide down, see where it wants to go. So now we're in passive flexibility. This is range you couldn't have got to because this is as far as I can go. I'm going to push a little bit further with an external force. That's passive flexibility. And now we're going to sit here for 2 minutes. At that point, when we hit the 2-minute mark, we are going to irradiate once again. We are going to now start applying force into the block hand. I'm trying to rotate out of this stretch. Block hand is going to stay strong, not going to allow it. So I'm going to start by applying 10% of pressure. And this time I'm going to work up to about 50 or 60%. This is very undertrained tissue, and you want to be careful the first few times you do it that you're going to stay healthy. So we're going to stay about 50-60%. So after the 10 seconds, you hit that 50, and now let's hold it for 20 to 25 seconds because we're going at a little bit less intensity. When you hit that 20 seconds, you're now going to do the opposite. You're rotating the shoulder to force the hand down, away from the block hand. And this you can do max intensity. Pull as hard as you can, as if you're arm wrestling a ghost, bringing that hand straight down into the ground, and hold that for a good 10 seconds. At which point, when you release, bring the block hand down to the new position, and then slowly release the shoulder. You should now be in a slightly deeper stretch than you started. This is where we're going to hold the stretch before we start the next set. The next set rep, it's all one rep. So now we're going to, again, parasympathetic breathing. Take your 6-second inhales, your 8-second exhales, and relax in this position for another 30 to 40 seconds. When you have recovered, we can begin again. So once again, we're going to start rotating out, applying 10% of force into this block hand. Work yourself up to about 50 to 60% over the next 10 seconds. And then for 20 seconds to 25 seconds, hold that tension right there. At which point we're going to begin our rail. We're going to pull off the block hand straight into the ground. You might feel a cramp here. If you're brave enough, embrace it. That cramp is going to be okay. That's just training your nervous system that these positions are okay and you're willing to go there. Problem is, a lot of this tissue you've never experienced before because you've never asked your body to go there. So your nervous system doesn't know what to do with it. It's going to cramp up. You do that a couple times, you get over a little bit of soreness. You're going to have healthier, better tissue for it. Okay, so our third exercise now is going to be in a very similar position to the second one. But like the first one, we're going to be externally rotated. There's not going to be a stretch, so we can go ahead and start right away. So once again, I'm going to use the block for my knees. I'm going to use the block for my head. Now, instead of bringing my hand down, I'm going to bring my elbow right into my hip here, or into my body, and I'm going to lay it out. I got about a 90-degree angle. You can work here, you can work here, wherever you want. It's okay. We're all training tissue. Pick a spot. I would recommend starting 90 degrees close to it from the beginning. And the work now is going to be to create a block hand with your top hand, and you're trying to rotate in towards your body. Again, this is an isometric training. We are not going to allow it. So we are going to block this hand. We are going to take 10 seconds to work up to a max contraction, and then we are going to hold that for 15 seconds. This time we're going max. Give it 100%. So push as hard as you possibly can that bottom hand into the top hand, but do not allow the bottom hand to win. The top hand's going to stay winning. When you have held the max effort contraction for 15 seconds, we're going to reverse direction. You're going to drive your knuckles straight into the ground as if you're going to rotate through the earth. And you are going to push as hard as you possibly can for 10 seconds, at which point when you get to there, release, relax, parasympathetic breathing yet again. 6-second inhales, 8-second exhales. When your nervous system has recovered, do another set, do another rep exercise, and do it all for both. These are just a few of an infinite possibility with rotational work to help create some really strong, healthy shoulders for you. So enjoy. Let me know in the comments how you like this training.